All right, hello everybody, and welcome into one of the off-season videos. We've got the SFA Season 12 Transfer Portal Showcase. It is here, it's ready, the second season of our transfer portal. The first one was fantastic. It helps so many teams get so much better, so much faster. Even helped Nebraska, who was the 6-win team, get all the way to the national championship. Now, they didn't win it, but they still got there. I have a ton of things to talk about. I go through all of the rules. Do not skip ahead. Please listen to all of the disclaimers. And please listen to the entire video. I'm going to give you a little bit more insight of some of these players. And going to go through all the rules, all the scenarios. The transfer portal is incredibly cutthroat, and I am very, very mean about the rules for the transfer portal. So if you don't follow them, you're going to waste a day. So please listen to all of the rules. Make sure you submit everything correctly. And don't be dumb. Last season, we saw Llama lose 2 days of the transfer portal because of his own fault. So, yeah, so before we get into the players, I'm just going to talk about kind of how the transfer portal works. So you're going to see this list of players. Some of them the game generated as transfers. Some of them I'm forcing to transfer, as you guys have seen posted throughout the last couple of weeks. And if you look in the recruiting general chat, I just posted all of the remaining budgets and all of the scholarships that you guys have available. So everybody either has 3 or 4 scholarships. That means that's the number of players you are allowed to sign in the transfer portal. And your remaining budget is obviously the remaining funds you have left to even use. If you are in the red, you cannot participate in the transfer portal. Your pitch will be voided because you do have to pitch at least 30,000 recruiting budget money in order to get a signing. Nobody will sign for less, so that's why you cannot use it. Any remaining funds below 30K will go to the Generational Talent Fund. You can also only sign the number of scholarships you have, obviously, and you can only pitch up to that amount each day. I'll kind of go through it a little bit more here. But how it works, it's just like recruiting through the season. I'm going to post a Google form. You are going to fill it out, and then once the first day is over, I will go through all of them, and the highest amount to each player will sign. Remember, all ties go to the coach who had the least amount of budget entering the season. Now, there are 3 days in the transfer portal, so if you strike out day 1, there should still be players day 2, and there should be players still day 3. And I'll talk more about that as we go through it. But this is the first thing I want to show you. This is how your pitch should look. So after I go through this, I'm going to show you all the players. Once you identify the targets that you want, this is what you should be submitting to the Google form. Remember that it is fully anonymous. I don't collect any personal information, and I do not collect emails. So if you do not put your name or your school on it, I will not know who you are, and it will void your pitch automatically because I'm not going to track it down. Also, make sure you guys are using the right school. I know a lot of you just switch schools, so if you put the wrong school name on there, I'm not allowing it. It's going to be automatically voided. And this is how it should look. So ECU, they have 150,000 left. I'm going to assume that they only have 3 scholarships, so that's what I'm going to go with in this example. And what you're going to do is from the list, you're going to identify the the group of prospects you want to pitch to and split up your remaining budget to sign them. So I have 50K on Arch, 50K on Banks, and 50K on Chad Barber. You cannot pitch to more players in one day than you have total scholarships. So if I have 3 scholarships, I cannot pitch to 6 players. I cannot pitch to 4 players. I have to pitch to 3. If you want to pitch to less, like go all in on one, you can. Just know that you aren't utilizing those other 2. Also, I have to split up my budget correctly for all the players I'm submitting to. So you cannot stack your pitches, meaning I can't say, hey, I want to put 150,000 on Arch Manning, but if he doesn't sign, I'll put 150K on Binks. If he doesn't sign, I'll put 150K on Chad Barber. That's not how it works. You have to commit. If you want to go all in on a player, you can, but you have to split up your recruiting budget accordingly, assuming everybody's going to sign. Otherwise, everybody would just submit a 92-player long tier list, and it would be hell for me to go through. So no stacking, none of that. You have to split up your budget and your scholarships the way they're supposed to. And you have to offer over 30,000. If you don't offer above 30,000 to a player, your entire pitch is going to be voided. If you mess up by going over your total, like going over your budget, if these add up and they're over 150,000, the entire submission is going to be voided for the day. Any other errors that you could think of, your submission will be voided, and you can only submit one time a day. So do it in your notes section on your phone, or write it down, or figure out what your pitch is going to be, and then go into the Google form and submit it. You only get one pitch. Make sure you proofread. Make sure you have your name. Make sure everything is included. Otherwise, you will get voided and you'll lose an entire day of the transfer portal, and that's no fun. You're potentially setting your team back. So please listen to the disclaimers. If you have a question before you submit, please DM me. I don't want to see anybody else like Llama last season being a dummy. So and I'm not going to be nice about it. If there's an error, it's tough luck for you. You didn't listen to my 6 minutes of disclaimers. So now we're going to introduce the players, and I'm going to go through it. If I remember anything else I'm missing about the rules, I'll go over it. The entire Season 12 transfer guide has recruiting guide has all of these rules in it as well. So let's get into it here. So I'm not going to field requests for additional information. Can I see the stats on this guy? Can I see what he's ever done? No. The transfer portal, it's all about that first impression, whether you like a guy or not, and then you go after him. So this is all the information you're going to get. In the top, you're going to see their position, their name. So you see Keenan Winston is a free safety. You also see that red shirt little tag flash there. So if you catch that on some players, that means they're going to be a red shirt freshman the following year. But this last season was a freshman. He's a cover corner. He's from Virginia. He's 6'2", 210 pounds, and he's a 67 overall right now. Remember, these overalls are all before progression, so they're all going to be higher, maybe lower if they get some bad progression, but typically they're going to be higher. You can typically expect about 3 to 5 overall higher than what they currently are. And under this year column, that is their current year. So he was a freshman in Season 12. That means in Season 13, he's going to be a sophomore, or because he has this redshirt tag, he's going to be a redshirt freshman. Finally, at the bottom right, you'll see that he is a transfer to Wake. So that means that the game had him transferring automatically. And if nobody picks him up in the portal, he is going to go to Wake Forest. So that is the first option here. As we go down, we now have Chad Moore. Here's another guy from Cal, 67 overall. He's a freshman. He's going to Air Force if nobody signs him. Here is another guy from Cal. These were all players that the game picked. So Mike Brown, he's going to go to Fresno State, so on and so forth. John Smith, this is a user team. So Florida man, I know he doesn't have a budget, but I'm going to use it as an example. Coaches, you can pitch to players who are transferring away from your own school. You can save them from the transfer portal. So if Florida man had money, he would be able to pitch to John Smith if he really liked him to try and keep him. Trey Means, here's a Central Michigan guy. Ryan Ostrander. And I want to go over Ryan Ostrander first. So remember, there is a new addition to pipelines this season where if you have a pipeline, any of the base transfers in the transfer portal, so guys like Ryan Ostrander, who the game decided to transfer, if their hometown is in your pipeline and nobody ends up signing Ryan Ostrander, he will transfer to East Carolina. So that's why I've already put in East Carolina. I put in a few East Carolinas. I put in a few Southern Misses. I put in a few Tennessees. I know there was none for Buffalo in Minnesota. But then I took some of them out to make room for forced transfers. And this is what a forced transfer looks like. So you guys saw him in a player spotlight, Kennard Short, the running back from Georgia. He will be transferring. Every player that I forced transferred on my own is showing that they're going to go to Akron. These guys are not actually going to wind up at Akron. They're going to go to whoever wins the pitch, right? But if nobody ends up wanting Kennard Short after the full 3-day process, then I'm going to spin a wheel and he's going to go to a random CPU team. So any players like that who are forced transferred, they're not going to go to Akron. They are going to be randomly assigned to CPU teams. So moving forward, we have Quentin Appleby, who we just saw transferring away from Iowa State. Now, Coach Logan can get him back. Cassius Strayer as well is another one. The portal got beefed up a lot by coaches leaving this season. We had 19 coaches change teams, so that was crazy. So here's a non-SFA player transferring. It is a quarterback. We have 69 overall. The lowest players in the portal this season are 67 overalls. So it's from 67, and our highest is 88. So North Texas, if nobody gets Oscar Branch, will go to North Texas. He'll continue on, but somebody might scoop up a quarterback, right? Terrence Brown from LSU, a nice little freshman here. Here's Donatello Perkins, one of the players who is transferring because of a broken promise. Remember, if you recruit an SFA player and you break the promise, they'll automatically transfer and you'll get a recruiting fine the following season. Here's the perfect case, Donatello Perkins. So he is available for you guys if you want him. Willis Whopper, one of the better players in the portal from MSU. Ryan Gordon, another player from MSU. And this is one that I switched it to Southern Miss for the pipeline. So if nobody gets Ryan Gordon, he's going to go to Southern Miss. Angus Falk leaving Missouri. And here's John West. He is the golden ticket player of the season. What that means is he's the star group of 5 player that we're given a chance. Same as Ricardo Henderson, who went to Nebraska. He is the only person in this out of any of the forced transfers that if nobody picks him up, he's going to go back to New Mexico. So that's the only one because he's the special golden ticket player. We got Bobby Horton, player here. We've got Marquise Brown. This is one of the better quarterbacks that the game decided to put out there for you guys. So this is a surprise guy that after Mushbrain left, I guess he's like, I don't want this here. So if nobody picks him up, he's going to go to Utah State. Brandon Slater, we got a free safety. Got a corner from Ohio State. And here's one of the better wide receivers coming out. So if nobody picks him up, he's going to go to Tulane. But I think a lot of people end up picking him up. He's a 77 overall freshman. We don't know if he's going to be a sophomore or a redshirt freshman, but this is going to be one of the better players to try to go after. Ryan Parrish, here's a player from a user. So Oklahoma, Jay Jettas, he redshirted him and he decided to dip. So he's going to be highly recruited. So is this fullback, another guy. We got a left guard from Ohio State, DJ Anderson. A right tackle here. Here is another player forced transfer, Derwin Fields-Crook. He is behind Junior Jabby. So we're going to give him a chance to get some starting time somewhere else. All the forced transfers have a situation like that where they're not going to get playing time or, there's just some situation where things haven't really worked out and they need a fresh start. So whatever the case is, that's why they are in the transfer portal. Quentin Robinson, this is another quarterback that the game decided. 6'7" overall. If you want to take the chance on him, he might be able to develop into something for you. Ken Brown, another big-time quarterback from Stanford. So if Coach MLB Rules wants to keep him, he'll have to spend some money to keep him from leaving in the transfer portal. Marcus Mueller from Syracuse. Dudley Steele, so the other Tennessee quarterback is hitting the portal, one of the best options out there. Nick already knew this was happening. We've talked about the strategy and the plan and how it works with the lore. So Dudley Steele and Cyrus Lloyd are both hitting the portal. Dario Stoggins, this is another player that broke a promise. Nick forgot that he promised no redshirt, then he redshirted him. So Dario Stoggins is in the portal. Moving on, we got some A&M players here. Greg Black, Chris Chandler from Baylor, Ozzie Merkins. So here's another broken promise. Skook promised freshman All-American. He did not quite get there, so he's going to the portal. Everybody can go after him now. Jameer Lovelace, a surprise player after Coach Mark left for South Carolina. So is he going to try to take his star quarterback with him? Who knows? You can pitch to him and see if you can get him. And the pipeline bonus doesn't work or doesn't happen for forced transfers. So like the Jameer Lovelace is from Michigan. He's not going to go to Southern Miss if he's not picked up. That's only the base transfer class that the game decided. So here's Cyrus Lloyd, who I was talking about earlier, the other Tennessee quarterback. Larry Young. Drago Crawford is an SFA player transferring away from USC. He's buried on that depth chart, not projected to get playing time anytime soon. Rex Osland, one of the players, because Chum Toad got fired, so that's a nice little halfback option. Tyson Coffey, middle linebacker from Georgia Southern. Ernest Parrish, this is a wide receiver from Cincinnati. That depth chart is absolutely stacked, so giving a player from the AAC a chance to shine. So we'll see what he can do if somebody wants to pick him up. LaWayne Streveler, another SFA player, 86 overall, one of the best players in the portal, buried on that Florida depth chart. They have some great linebackers, so he has a chance now to go somewhere else. Kobe Beef, SFA player from Georgia. He is entering the transfer portal because, once again, buried on those big depth charts. Taylor Sockrider, he is the top overall in the transfer portal. 88 overall. So remember pre-progression, so you can probably expect 2 years of eligibility with a low 90s player here. Lou Underwood, another one of those Iowa State transfers. Jeff Pimpton, probably the best tight end in the transfer portal. Perry Sly, another SFA player, the 7-footer from Alabama, buried on that depth chart. You got Roscoe Cherry, another player leaving from Michigan State. He is the second highest overall in the transfer portal. Brian Arakpo is leaving from Minnesota, buried on their depth chart as well. Jamar Siggins, the second best quarterback, entering the transfer portal from Missouri. So big time player potentially here. Robbie Carmichael, he was on that team national championship, but he's buried on the depth chart. So Chewy, if you want to keep him, you're going to have to pay for him. Julius Dixon, Team of the Year wide receiver. Not oftentimes we get Team of the Year players in the transfer portal, but here is one. So see if you can pick him up. Thad Mooney, the former number 2 player in the recruiting class, had some bad regression, looking for a new home after kind of being benched by Notre Dame. Troy Oxford, kind of the same deal. Like, he still played for Ole Miss, but he got, like, no stats, so he's wanting a fresh start after being a 5-star and not getting enough playing time. Terrell Lawson, this is another one of those kind of players buried on the depth chart by somebody who's younger than him, so he's projected never to play, so I figured I'd give him a shot. Al Wright is one of the players the game decided to enter. Joe Hayden, the spin the wheel for Coach Zach, so we'll see if somebody can snag him in the transfer portal here. Glenn Childs, product of a coach firing. Larry Jennings, who is just a base player. And Darius Hayward-Bay is hitting the portal mainly because he wants to win. He has 1 year of eligibility. He's decided to defer his service in the Air Force for 1 year to try to go win a national championship with somebody. Very, very fast receiver. So if you want him, you got to go get him. 84 overall. Justin Hines from tight end U, Georgia. He's projected never to play behind those 2 SFA players, Lorenzo Pines and Caleb Broussard. So I figured I'd give him a chance to go star somewhere else for a year. And then Ben Fountain from Georgia Tech, another quarterback just buried on a depth chart. He has a chance to come in and be a good transitional starter for you while you develop some talent, or maybe, a 1 year try to get to a bowl game or something. Akrong Barron, running back from Appalachian State. He is buried on that depth chart. He's an SFA player, so going to give him a chance. Joel Ward, another player from Iowa State. Hazelnut, he's the top fullback here in the class. He could probably play running back for you as well. One of these player spotlights I went over earlier in the year. Jabari Stratford, another player. Iowa State getting hit the hardest by the transfer portal this season. Fred Austin, he is a running back from LSU. Walker Keller is the star there, so we're going to give him 1 year to see if somebody wants to pick him up, if they want, a power back for a year. George Kennedy, this is one of the better quarterback options out there. He wasn't going to start for Michigan. I don't even think he was top 3, so we're going to give him a chance to go somewhere, see if he can get some starting power. So if you're quarterback needy, here's a guy. Dwayne Johnson, another one of the top 3 players in the portal, Team of the Year player, likely going to be a Hall of Famer. 1 year for somebody to go crazy off the edge. Roosevelt Gold is a guard from Michigan State, wasn't projected to play, so I threw him in here. Sammy Baugh, he is the top quarterback in the country. I was deciding whether I wanted to put Sammy Baugh in the portal or I wanted to put Flynn Saunders in the portal, but Flynn Saunders, whatever. We're going to give him another chance at App State. He kind of got screwed. There's a coach there now, but ULM, 1 year. Sammy Baugh, he's had some great seasons, a couple big-time upsets. He is ready to go to a team and lead them as a 1-year senior quarterback transfer to see if he can take you to the promised land. Very excited to see where he goes. Enzo Woods, another SFA player, buried on that depth chart behind Azuna, so he is going to be testing the waters. The new coach Ron could always save him. Kyle Brookins, another one of those top 3 or 4 players in the portal, another elite pass rusher transferring away from Georgia Southern. Scooter Burdett decided on his own that he wanted to enter the portal as an SFA player. He is projected to go to LSU if nobody takes him. Shane Jones, another one of those guys. Eric Wood, a running back from Tennessee. Daniel Smith from Utah. Wes Nolan from FIU. A right end from ODU. A bunch of young players here. Jerry Schmierman, he was going to go to the transfer portal anyways, but the game had him transferring, so I didn't have to add him in. So if nobody picks him up, he's going to go to Utah State as well. Deshaun Fellows, here's another big-time player going. Not an SFA player or anything, just one of the better recruits I saw. He's going to ODU if nobody picks him up. Another fullback here. And another quarterback option if you're a lower overall team, or maybe you want to develop some talent behind maybe a veteran quarterback that's going to be starting for you. He might be a good option. Tony Nolan, wide receiver from Boston College. And Cornelius Day, this is the best player in the transfer portal that the CPU decided to transfer on its own from Nevada. He is a sophomore, so, high-level middle linebacker. Big opportunity for somebody to get him. If nobody gets him, he's going to USC. DeMarcus Hamilton, probably the best offensive lineman available. Kevin Whitmore. Nathan Brooks, player from Southern Miss. Marco Schroeder staying in the draft. So that is the full list in the transfer portal. I'm going to scroll back up. Remember to, you can go throughout the video, see all the options, pause it, look at all of the available. This is the only screen I'm giving you. Do not ask me questions on who's in the portal. I will not answer them. Remember, 1 submission a day. Read all the rules. Please don't be dumb, because I'm not going to hear any whining or crying. If you mess up your pitch, it's going to be voided. You're going to have to wait for the next day. Remember, transfer portal, super cutthroat. It's not fair. It's just what happens. So a lot of luck involved. So thank you guys all for watching. Really excited about this portal. I think there's a ton of fantastic players, and I think that a lot of you coaches who just went to a new school can have some instant success if you play your cards right here. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.